Ikoa's eyes widened. His chin dropped. He had to process what Iwaizumi had just said. Marry? Iwaizumi looked at Ikoa in all seriousness. Ikoa's heart beat faster and faster. He blushed once again. He slapped one hand on Iwaizumi's forehead and the other on his own, then spoke with slight panic in his voice. Iwa-chan, I think the fever has already set in. Iwaizumi threw an annoyed look back at Ikoa. It doesn't happen that fast. Are you sure? I think there is something wrong with you. I ask you to marry me and you say there's something wrong with me. They both paused for a moment. Ikoa looked at Iwaizumi with big eyes. Yes, you're right. There is something wrong with me. Iwa-chan. Iwaizumi laughed and Ikoa pouted. Iwaizumi cupped Ikoa's face and squeezed his cheeks to make his pouting disappear. Don't give me that face. I asked you a question. Iwa-chan. Ikoa was totally overwhelmed. Iwaizumi raised an eyebrow and smirked at Ikoa. Ikoa's expression now became horrified. Are you kidding me right now? No. I'm serious, Carver. Marry me. Ikoa was completely confused and Iwaizumi loved seeing him like this. He smirked again. I know this doesn't change our situation for now. You're going to Argentina in a week and I really don't know if we'll see each other again before the World Cup starts. But I will follow you. Ikoa's eyes widened. Athletic trainers are wanted everywhere and I am really good at my job. I will quickly find something new. No, Iwa, I can't ask you to do that. It's okay, Carver. I don't have to stay here in Japan. No, Iwa-chan. I really couldn't live with that. But you are more important to me than anything else. I can't let you go again, Carver. I can't stand a life without you. Iwa-chan. Ikoa's eyes sparkled. Both remained silent for a moment until Ikoa took a deep breath. There is another option. No, there's no way you're going to transfer from the Argentine national team. Argentina was your dream. Playing under Jose Blanco was your dream. I'm not going to take that away from you. Ikoa touched Iwaizumi's face and gently stroked his cheek with his thumb. After the World Cup, when our team will have beaten you, when we will be in the finals and win one more time, you will ask me again, Iwa-chan, and my answer will be yes. With that, Ikoa pressed his lips against those of his best friend, against those of his love of life, against those of his soulmate. July 2023. Just before Ikoa had to leave Tokyo again, he and Iwaizumi got back together. After they both realized that they can't live without each other and therefore suffered for 2 years, they didn't want to let each other go. Because of the upcoming World Cup and because of Ikoa's plans afterwards, they kept their relationship a secret. Only their friends knew about it, cause they knew they could trust them. The World Cup in Scotland started the next day and all the teams had already arrived and were getting ready. It was just before midnight and Ikoa's plane had just landed. He arrived after his team because he still had to settle some things with his contract in Argentina. The airport was almost empty, which was Ikoa's plan, because he didn't want to face the press under any circumstances. Text messages between Iwa-chan and Ikoa. Iwa-chan. Carver. Have you arrived? Just now. I wish I could have picked you up. What are you doing right now? Still in a meeting with our athletic trainer team. Why? Let's sneak out later. I really want you. Iwaizumi choked. His face turned into a deep shade of red. He stared at his phone and his heart raced. He tried to calm down somehow. Iwa-chan? Toru, I love you. Iwa-chan. I love you too. Is that a yes? No. Why? Because we have to be damn careful right now. As if I care. You should. Iwa-chan mean. I miss you. I miss you too. But if you can't keep your legs still for a few weeks now, you can get in serious trouble with your career. And honestly, I could too. Stop pouting. I can't believe you're rejecting me. 3 weeks, Carver. Wait for 3 weeks. That's 3 weeks too much. Iwa-chan. Iwaizumi sighed. Text me when you arrive at the hotel. Meaning. I want to make sure you arrive safely. Aren't you coming over? 3 weeks, Carver. 3 weeks. Ikoa being offended. They haven't seen each other for 4 months. Ikoa was finishing the season in Argentina with his team CA San Juan and Iwaizumi was extremely busy because of the World Cup. Still, they managed to talk on the phone every day. Once Ikoa arrived, he greeted his team and was really happy to finally see everyone again. Almost all of his teammates were still awake and everyone had something to talk about with Ikoa. Some time passed until Ikoa arrived in his room and put his suitcase on the side. He flopped back into the bed and sighed. Ikoa picked up his phone and checked the time, 2:49 AM. 5 messages from Iwaizumi and 14 missed calls. Oopsie. Text messages between Iwa-chan and 𝒖𝒂𝒄. Oi. Carver? I'm worried. Hey, have you arrived yet? 𝒖𝒂𝒄? 𝒖𝒂𝒄 is online. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 started a video call. Didn't I tell you to text me when you'd arrive? I've met all my teammates and besides, I never told you I'd do that. Are you fucking serious? Just as serious as you not coming over. Iwaizumi sighed and rolled his eyes, then hung up. What the fuck? 𝒖𝒂𝒄 pouted and tossed his phone away. He crossed his arms in front of his chest and stared at the ceiling in annoyance. After a few seconds, however, he sighed and went into the bathroom to brush his teeth. The trip was starting to wear him out. Just as he finished, there was a knock on his door. Hold on a second. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 quickly rinsed his mouth, dried himself and then ran to the hotel room door. As he opened the door he was surprised by a man who rushed up to him, swung his arms around 𝒖𝒂𝒄's waist and planted a kiss on his lips. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 furrowed his eyebrows and now realized it was Iwaizumi. He kissed him back and let his feelings run wild. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 swung his arms around Iwaizumi's neck and smiled into the kiss. What happened to the 3 weeks? As if I could wait that much longer. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 chuckled and Iwaizumi lifted him up. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 wrapped his legs around him and the two sank into a deep, sweet kiss again. Iwaizumi carried 𝒖𝒂𝒄 into the bedroom and gently laid him down onto his bed, never once releasing the kiss. Both of their faces were flushed red. As Iwaizumi hovered over 𝒖𝒂𝒄, he pulled away from the kiss, looked 𝒖𝒂𝒄 in the eyes and gently touched his hair. I missed you. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 smiled, his hands moving to Iwaizumi's cheeks so that he was now cupping his face. More. They stared at each other for a while longer until again they pressed their lips together, sinking into the beauty of the night. The next day, 𝒖𝒂𝒄 was awakened by the sunlight on his face. Although he had such a long and exhausting journey, he felt insanely refreshed. Something was missing, however. He found himself alone in bed, Iwaizumi long gone. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 checked his phone and found a message from Iwaizumi. Didn't want to wake you up. See you later at the induction ceremony. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 smiled. The next few days flew by. At the induction ceremony, 𝒖𝒂𝒄 met all his friends from Japan and also some other friends from other countries. Everyone was excited to see each other again and to spend time together. The next few days, however, the teams were very focused on themselves. After Iwaizumi surprised 𝒖𝒂𝒄 on the first day, they didn't visit each other anymore. Iwaizumi took the whole thing seriously and didn't want the press to suspect anything, as it could risk both his and 𝒖𝒂𝒄's careers. Japan and Argentina qualified for the next round as group winners. Both teams were also successful in the round of 16 and in the quarterfinals, so that they now faced each other in the semi-finals. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 spent the time until the warm-up with his friends from Japan and chatted with them. Everyone was insanely looking forward to the match against each other. Then it was time for the teams to warm up, the adrenaline slowly starting to rise. Okay, see you later on the court, losers. Ha, don't brag that much, pretty boy. We're gonna kick your ass, Carver. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 smirked and was about to turn to leave when Iwaizumi suddenly grabbed his wrist and looked at him with a serious expression. Please be careful. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 tilted his head and looked at Iwaizumi in confusion. You've played every of your matches. Plus last game was insanely long. The load in the tournament is much higher here than in the league. Take care of your ankle, Carver. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 flashed Iwaizumi a warm smile. Are you telling me this as an athletic trainer or as my rival who wants his team to win because I'm holding back? Iwaizumi pulled 𝒖𝒂𝒄 close to him, his lips almost touching his ears, and he whispered. I'm telling you this as the person who loves you to the moon and back and as someone who cares about you. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 melted. He wanted to kiss Iwaizumi so bad. Also, I love to see how you're keeping the ring on your finger. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 taped his middle finger and his ring finger that he could keep on the engagement ring without letting anybody get suspicious. He trembled all over his body. 𝒖𝒂𝒄 was a blushing mess. Iwaizumi took a few steps back and grinned at him. See you on the court. Iwaizumi hurried to the others, leaving 𝒖𝒂𝒄 standing there. It took him a moment to regain his composure, then he smiled too. I love you too, Iwa-chan. After the warm-up, the teams gathered once more before the match started. Okay guys, we are so close. Let's get the ticket for the final today. Everyone cheered. Save your power, it's going to be a long and tough match today. Argentina, as always, is not to be underestimated. They are really in top form again this time. We have to keep an eye on 𝒖𝒂𝒄. He is the linchpin of the team. We all know how well he can play our weaknesses against us. It's not just 𝒖𝒂𝒄. Once the libero is in, 𝒖𝒂𝒄 and their ace are unbeatable. The three of them work bombastically. If we don't manage to weaken their interplay, it'll be hard for us. Everyone nodded. If we focus on playing 𝒖𝒂𝒄 as often as possible, we might be able to rattle him. He's already had a couple of powerful matches, and until recently he was injured. Sooner or later they'll have to take him out, then our chances of scoring will increase. Iwaizumi winced as he heard that and didn't notice that his facial expression became quite annoyed. How cruel. Atsumu punched him in the arm to bring him back to reality. Don't worry Iwa, we're just gonna wear him out a little bit. The whole team had to smile and Iwaizumi looked worriedly at Oikura. Don't overdo it. Oikura chatted with his teammates and teased them a bit. The mood among them was totally relaxed. Everyone was insanely looking forward to the upcoming match. Oikura was fooling around with 𝒖𝒔𝒊𝒄 the libero and 𝒑𝒍𝒂𝒄 the ace. It's a pity that we have to send your friends home today Kava. Oikura put his arms on his hips and looked confidently at his team. Friends or not, I don't care who our opponent is. Today it's all about getting through to the next round. I'm counting on you. 𝒖𝒔𝒄 tousled Oikura's hair. Or you said that beautifully, Captain. Oikura pushed 𝒖𝒔𝒄 away annoyed. Iwaizumi looked at the two sharply. Get lost 𝒖𝒔𝒄, I don't count on you. Hahaha, tell me that again when I deliver you the perfect ball. Your passes have never been perfect. 𝒖𝒔𝒄 poked Oikura in the side so that he had to retreat a few steps and laughed. Hush. My passes are always perfect. Yeah, if you say so. We should keep an eye on Wakatoshi and Sakusa. They've gotten really strong. Don't worry, we'll get them under control quickly. Oikura was confident. 𝒖𝒔𝒄 gave him a smack on his butt. Well then, show the world who is the best setter. He smirked at Oikura, who only blushed. Iwa-chan will kill you, 𝒖𝒔𝒄. If looks could kill, I would already be dead. 𝒖𝒔𝒄 grinned at Oikura, then turned to Iwaizumi and grinned at him, too. Oikura just looked apologetically at Iwaizumi, and Iwaizumi gave Oikura a perplexed look. Oikura turned back around and was red with embarrassment. If he doesn't kill you, I will. 𝒖𝒔𝒄 laughed. The team put their arms around each other and put their heads together one last time. Let's show them. They all cheered. Finish them off. Japan's team also cheered and then they went out onto the court to compete against each other. The sets were tough, long and very exhausting. Both teams were evenly matched. They were already playing the last set and this one dragged on again. The sets before were all close. Japan 32 points, Argentina 34 points. Japan 36 points, Argentina 34 points. Japan 25 points, Argentina 27 points. Japan 31 points, Argentina 29 points. Again, the set went on way too long. It was tied. Both teams had scored 25 points. Argentina's coach Jose Blanco took his last timeout. Atsumu puffed and wiped the sweat from his brow. Sakusa grabbed a water bottle to drink. Everyone got together, being totally exhausted. Fuck. Hang in there a little longer guys. They are at least as exhausted as you are. Your flow is good, only 2 points are missing. You'll get them too. Hinata put his arms on his hips and grimaced. What was that again? If we play Oikura all the time, they'll take him out at some point? Why the hell isn't he out yet? Heh, I didn't think he'd last that long either. You're challenging him quite a bit right now, but he won't let you take the match away from him. No matter how much his ankle hurts, he won't show it, not to anyone. I hate him. Come on guys, we've always been able to turn the tables. Let's get the last 2 points too. Yes, let's go to the final. Everyone was pushing each other and cheering each other on, while the Argentine team was a little quieter. Oikura sat down on the bench, bent over and threw a towel over his neck. He braced his forearms on his thighs and looked at his ankle. Are you okay? Yes. Oikura didn't avert his gaze and answered calmly. His ankle hurt like hell, but he pushed the feeling of pain aside and fortunately it wasn't swollen. No one would notice that he wasn't at 100%, but it upset him insanely. 𝒖𝒔𝒄, Tiago, we'll use our technique on the next ball that comes advantageous. We have to finish this quickly now. The team looked at Oikura in confusion. Ha. Are you serious? Deadly serious. Oh, this will be embarrassing if it doesn't work out. Don't worry, I've got your back. I'm putting everything I've got into my serve, but I'm not in top shape anymore. It won't be an ace, but maybe it will disturb them a little. Tiago put his hand on Oikura's shoulder and smiled at him. If it's not an ace, I'll just smash it in. Oikura smiled back. Let's get the final ticket. And that was the end of the timeout. The teams went back on the court and it was Oikura's turn to serve. Oikura took a deep breath and placed the ball in front of his forehead. He blanked out his surroundings and concentrated fully on the serve. All his energy was flowing in this shot. Sweat trickled down Oikura's forehead. He widened his eyes and threw the ball high into the air. After a few steps he was ready to jump. He smiled. Perfect. He hit the ball with full force. He was sure it would be an ace, but 𝒂𝒂𝒄 was ready to take the ball and keep it up. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 grimaced in annoyance. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 had trouble receiving 𝒂𝒂𝒄's serve and somehow tried to get the ball to Atsumu. Atsumu was able to make up for 𝒂𝒂𝒄's inaccuracies and played a perfect pass to 𝒂𝒂𝒄. He got ready and his eyes sparkled when he realized that 𝒂𝒂𝒄 wasn't even at the front of the net. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 smirked. The first step to get them out of concentration was done. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 smashed the ball into the opponent's court, but was so out of it that he aimed in 𝒂𝒂𝒄's direction. A few steps were enough for 𝒂𝒂𝒄 to get into the right position to receive the ball. The hit was strong and hard. Normally 𝒖𝒔𝒆𝒅 would take them, but this was exactly their technique. That's where all the broses came from back then, as 𝒂𝒂𝒄 was not used to receive such hard spikes. As 𝒂𝒂𝒄 took the hit, everyone looked at him stunned. He had played straight to the ace. 𝒖𝒔𝒄 got ready to attack. The pass was really far from perfect, but it would be enough to score a hit. Atsumu, Hinata and 𝒂𝒂𝒄 were getting ready to block and jumped up when 𝒖𝒔𝒄 suddenly changed his form and passed the ball to 𝒂𝒂𝒄. The three of them looked at him in shock and annoyance. You little. Seriously? And 𝒂𝒂𝒄 smirked and jumped off the ground. He caught the vacant spot to score and now tensed his whole body. His expression became confident and he hit the ball with full force into the opponent's court. No chance. The ball landed on the ground and immediately bounced off. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 beamed all over his face. His whole team cheered. He clapped with 𝒖𝒔𝒆𝒅 and 𝒖𝒔𝒄. Their technique had worked out. So much power, Kava. You also tossed great, 𝒖𝒔𝒄. 𝒖𝒔𝒆𝒅 pounced on them. Awesome guys. Let's get the last point. Atsumu snorted. He couldn't and wouldn't hold back how annoyed he was by this technique right now. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 patted him on the back. Let's get the point back. Atsumu pressed his lips together and knitted his eyebrows. Omi hit the next one. Japan 25 points. Argentina 26 points. Everyone was gasping for air. The game was getting more exhausting with every point. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 got ready for another serve and repeated his routine. He had to take 𝒂𝒂𝒄 out and for that he needed a perfect serve. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 threw the ball up and slammed it into the other court but clicked his tongue when he realized the serve didn't have enough power. This time 𝒂𝒂𝒄 was able to receive the ball better and pass to Atsumu. Everyone got ready for a synchronized attack, though it wasn't clear to whom Atsumu would toss until the last second. The block jumped up in front of 𝒂𝒂𝒄 as Atsumu played 𝒂𝒂𝒄 at the last moment. 𝒂𝒂𝒄's eyes widened as he noticed this, and his gaze immediately moved to 𝒖𝒔𝒆𝒅. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 could hit it with full force. He had no block in front of him that would prevent him from doing anything. His eyes sparkled and he licked his lips before slamming the ball into Argentina's court with full force. 𝒖𝒔𝒆𝒅 dove forward and just managed to keep the ball up. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 quickly realized where he had to go and ran to the ball to deliver a perfect pass to 𝒖𝒔𝒄. They made a quick attack but Komori was able to keep it in the air as well. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 and 𝒖𝒔𝒄 looked annoyed at their opponents. Atsumu followed 𝒂𝒂𝒄's lead and passed the ball to 𝒂𝒂𝒄 for a quick attack. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 was jumping and put all his power into this shot, but it was blocked by the Argentine wall and fell into his own court. Everyone rushed to the ball but it was too late. It touched the ground. Japan 25 points. Argentina 27 points. The whole Argentine team ran onto the court as they realized they had entered the final. Everyone cheered. The whole gym was out of control. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 smiled and hugged his whole team. They were all worn out. Everyone had to calm down. The match honestly wore them out. Atsumu wiped the sweat from his forehead and smiled. I hate to say it, but today you were unbeatable. They all went to the edge of the court and thanked each other for the game. The Japanese team was disappointed, but at the same time relieved that it was over. They were all exhausted and sad not to have made it one round further, but at the same time they were happy for their friend. No matter who would have made it, both teams deserved it. It was already late in the evening when 𝒂𝒂𝒄 fell into his bed. He now really felt how the match tugged at his strength. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 snuggled into his bed and tried to sleep. Tomorrow was the final and until then he had to regain his strength. He checked his phone one last time and saw a message from Iwaizumi. Text messages between 𝒂𝒂𝒄 and Iwaizumi. I loved watching you today. The game was different from the others. Tell your athletic trainer team to treat your ankle. You might be able to fool the others but not me. 𝒂𝒄 is online. Oh thanks Iwa-chan. My ankle is doing great. Iwaizumi is online. Has anyone looked at it? No, no one has to. Like I said, my ankle is doing great. Iwaizumi is offline. Ha. Iwa-chan sometimes you're really weird. 𝒂𝒄 clicked through more messages, all wishing him good luck for tomorrow and telling him that they had seen the semi-finals today and were totally overwhelmed. Some time passed and suddenly there was a knock on 𝒂𝒄's door. 𝒂𝒄 groaned, crawled out of his bed and slowly opened the door. Hi, Iwa-chan. Oh. Let me check your foot. I told you it's alright. TSK. Iwaizumi made his way into Ikoa's room and sat down on his bed. He patted beside him to signal Ikoa to sit down. Ikoa rolled his eyes and plopped down on the bed next to Iwaizumi. He leaned back against the headboard and put his foot on Iwaizumi's lap. Iwaizumi began massaging it, causing Ikoa to wince in pain. Fuck, I didn't think it would be this bad. Tell Sierra to take his hands off you. Ikoa glanced at Iwaizumi. He has a girlfriend, Iwa-chan. More reasons to stay fucking away. Ikoa giggled. Someone's jealous. You're mine, Carver. He shouldn't touch you like that, it makes me crazy. You're too possessive, Iwa-chan. I just don't like you being touched by any other men. It's no problem if it's Suga or Atsumu. It is. Ikoa smirked at Iwaizumi and leaned back but suddenly hissed in pain as Iwaizumi reached the worst spot on his ankle. Ouch, Iwa-chan. Aha, but your ankle is doing great, right? Iwaizumi got somewhat gentler and concentrated on not hurting Ikoa too much but massaging the worst parts out properly. If you didn't do anything, you wouldn't be able to compete in tomorrow's match. Ikoa pouted and was annoyed that he had to accept that Iwaizumi was right. Thank you. You could listen to me once in a while. If I would listen to you, we wouldn't have seen each other for more than 3 weeks now. If you listened to me, our careers wouldn't be in danger right now. If I listened to you, I wouldn't be having as much fun as I'm having right now. Ikoa teased Iwaizumi further, but Iwaizumi only gave him a smirk back. As Iwaizumi finished, he looked at Ikoa more seriously again. Oh, if you're not careful, this could end badly tomorrow. You have already overdone it today and yesterday too. Ikoa pulled his leg back and crawled forward. He supported himself with his hands on the bed and their faces were only a few inches apart. Iwaizumi was a blushing mess. Then you'll just take care of me again, right? I would prefer to get you back healthy. Iwaizumi crawled next to Ikoa and pulled him into his arms, leaning back. Ikoa dropped down and immediately nestled on Iwaizumi's chest. As soon as he felt Iwaizumi's warmth, his eyes began to grow heavy. Just be careful, okay? Iwaizumi smiled. His heart skipped a beat at the sight of Ikoa lying in his arms. He loved him. He loved him so fucking much. Iwa-chan? Are you staying for the night? I shouldn't. Then I'll just ask Sierra to accompany me. Iwaizumi's body tensed and Ikoa giggled. Just stay a little longer, okay? Ikoa closed his eyes and snuggled into Iwaizumi's chest. He was exhausted from the match and Iwaizumi's body heat made him comfortable enough to quickly doze off. He grabbed onto Iwaizumi's shirt, pressing his head deeper to his boyfriend's body. Iwaizumi smiled and ran his fingers through Ikoa's soft brown hair. Iwa-chan? Yes. I can't wait to spend the rest of my days with you. Iwaizumi blushed and smiled. Same. I love you. I love you too, Carver. Iwaizumi hugged Ikoa a little tighter, gave him a kiss on his head and they both dozed off.